Hello, all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. Welcome back to Making Bullet Hell Games in Game Maker. So today I'm going to sequence break from my original plan just a little because there is something that I really feel like working on. And that, as I mentioned at the end of a recent video, is player upgrades. And some of these should be fairly quick to implement. Some of them may be a little bit longer. Are there any other things by way of upgrades that I wanted to do? Doesn't look like it. Just these four right now. So faster, special recharge, more damage. Those are the obvious upgrades that are just making numbers bigger. Special sets surviving targets on fire is well, that's actually already done, but I could just sort of go the other way and like de-upgrade it and make that only happen if the player has that upgrader available to them. And kill enemy within 3 seconds of dying to recover with 1 HP. I might modify that to if like an enemy is killed by a bullet that was shot before you died, then you will recover with 1 HP or something like that. That's going to be really annoying to test. I don't know if my reflexes are going to be good enough to make that something that I can really test without great difficulty, but we're going to do that today. As for another number going up upgrade that I might add, having the player track the mouse a little bit more closely, because right now the player moves towards the mouse rather slowly, which is something that you do have to take into consideration when moving around. That was deliberate, but it might feel better to, to allow the player to do that if they upgrade something. Let them get through some of the harder levels without as much trouble. Let's get into this. So, faster special recharge. Also, another one was, I guess I'll write this down. Was the charge level over 100%. And this was something that I sort of messed with last time, which is what sort of made me want to do this and sort of put the idea in my head to work on player upgrades. I guess just to make him look like all the others. Just to make them look like all the others. Can I assign this to myself? Add user me. I don't remember what the point of me doing that was because I'm the only user on this board, but it does look satisfying to have, that sticker on each card with your name on them. So let's get into this. I suppose I will also take this time to let me create a script. Group upgrade database. And we can see about saving and loading this later, but first macro upgrades can point to a global variable that's just called __ upgrades or something like that. And just on game start, we can do this. Oh, shut up, Feather. We can do this to keep track of upgrades that the player has like bought or whatever. And this can be, and let me side by side these so that I can remember what they were. Special recharge rate. We can make this 0, and perhaps each upgrade can have like three levels, as it were. That needs to be a colon. We can have damage buff can also be 0, and special fire can be 0. And like when that's turned off, the special won't set things on fire. When it's level 1, it'll set things on fire a little, and when it's level 2, it'll set things on fire a lot, or something of that nature. Posthumous is always a fun word to say out loud. Not so much the spell. I assume I spelled it right. But that's if you kill something after you die, you will be resurrected magically. And also the special charge level. Now, whether the player is able to upgrade each of these categories once, twice, 3 times, 15 times, at the moment, at this stage in development, is a little immaterial. I just want the system to have it, like, working. Right now, The way that I did this last time is I just wrote a little function that's like get upgrade sub weapon value, and that went in its own script, which is a little bit of a, say, wasteful because we're going to have a million scripts floating around. And probably a better way to do it, and a more like unified way to do it, would be to actually just write methods in the upgrade struct that is something like sub-weapon charge level can be a function which returns a value, and we can also have like sub-weapon recharge rate can be a function which returns a value, and sub-weapon burn capacity can be a function which returns a value. And you see where this is going. Let's see, the sub-weapon charge level can look like that. Wherever this was called previously, we can instead point to upgrades that get sub weapon charge level. I can probably get rid of all these, like close all these faux template windows things, can't I? Much better. I will prefix these with get. It's a computer science tradition. What are the other ones? Get damage buff. And get posthumous recovery. I'll call that posthumous recovery time because obviously, like by default, it'll be disabled. As you level this up, maybe you'll get like a half a second recovery time, 1 second recovery time, 2 seconds recovery time, something like that. And each of these, I think I'm going to put in a switch. And we'll just return different values based on case 0, case 1, case 2. I think I'll assume that each of these is going to have like 3 levels, the default and then 2 upgrades. Negative 0.5 can be level 1, 2 can be, so you can bring the sub-weapon charge rate up to 200% at level 2. The weapon recharge rate, sub-weapon recharge rate, can be a multiplier. Special recharge rate, oh, wrong one. By default, it can be 1. Maybe at level 1, it can be 1.25, and then at level 2, 1.5, rather, level 2, it can be a double. Sub-weapon burn capacity. If I were to set this to, let's say, 0, weapon burn capacity at level 0 can be, well, 0. At level 1. This is going to depend on what exactly I set to. I feel like what it is right now... Oh, where is it? There is a shoot sub somewhere in here. Oh, that's a step event, obviously. What it is now wouldn't be bad for level 1. Attribute fire equals true. Bullets have, like, a fire amount, don't they? Okay, so this sets the entity on fire that they hit, it sets the duration that they are on fire, and I don't think it sets the amount of, like, damage they do when they're on fire. Alright, that's gonna be a bit of refactoring, I think. So, let's see. Effect, fire, duration, and this can be an expression that is the macro for default effects duration. And for 1, I think we can actually return 2 values here. From the get sub weapon burn capacity, there can be the duration and the amount. So this can return a struct. Return type differs from previously established return type. See, that's feather. That's a feather message that's actually like useful to me. let's see. At level 1, the duration can be default effect duration, and the amount can be, say, probably 1, right? When an entity catches fire, alright, it literally just does health minus minus. I would like that to slightly change. We're gonna want amount can be set. So this can be health minus equals self.buff fire.amount.
Hey.
And that's going to be damage per tick. And when a bullet sets something on fire, when the effect is applied, entity.buff fire.amount is going to be effect fire amount. And that can be another number. So we're going to apply that effect, buff fire.value, and there's nowhere else in code that is set, is there? Alright, aside from the create event, no. Any other changes I want? I don't think so. I think just when you shoot your subweapon, you need to get the subweapon burn capacity. Like that. And burn capacity is going to have a duration and a amount. If burn capacity.duration is greater than 0, then we will set the attribute fire. Shot.effect fire amounts can be burn capacity.amount. Shot.effect fire duration can be burn capacity dot. And I love how Feather is actually smart enough to tell me like the two variables that this can have, even though GML being the like spaghetti pile of dynamically typed languages as it is, Feather is actually smart enough to figure out which values this has. And this isn't a case of like where that's particularly difficult to do, but in a more complicated code, it's often still able to figure out which like what kind of value like what members a struct might have like this, and it's really nice. Anyway, that's going to be the duration. And that was a lot of changes without running the code. Before I do run the code, let me fill these in. I think the get damage buff is going to be the same as the special recharge rate, at least. It'll be similar types of numbers. So at level 0, when it's not upgraded, it'll be just a 1x modifier. At level 1, it'll be 1.5x. Maybe I'll make that like 1.3x, and then at level 2, it'll be like 1.6x. So it'll do 60% more damage. And posthumous recovery time. This is going to involve a little bit of rewriting because the player, like when the player dies, the game won't be able to just throw up the you died screen immediately. It'll have to wait until this period is over to see if you can come back. But hopefully that won't be too complicated. At rank 0, it'll be 0. At rank 1, it'll be, say, 1 second. And at rank 2, let's make it more like 4 seconds. Alright. So now, if I shoot my subweapon, I should not set the foes on fire. That's going to be the first one that I test. I'm going to let you charge. And I believe you're taking damage, but you're not being set on fire. If I do that again... Alright, so we are damaging you, we're just not setting you on fire. Excellent. Well, if I were to say special fire is rank 1, and if I were to shoot fire at you, then you should catch fire, but I don't think this will be enough to take you down. The fire's going to go out. Alright. So that was a 3-hit KO for you. For the ants in the front row. And at rank 2, fire is going to last longer, and that should just be, like, visually obvious. Wait, really? Special fire is set to 2. Oh, okay. I didn't actually implement that yet. The amount should be 1. Let's say double the default effect duration, and we'll do double the damage. So it'll be 4 times the amount of damage overall. 2x DPS, 2x the duration. Alright. I guess they weren't actually doing anything the first time I hit him with the fire. Alright, and you do indeed get taken down after a couple seconds just because of the fire. So that's going to be, what, 2 damage per second for 2 seconds? For 4 seconds is going to be 8 damage total on top of the damage that the attack already does on its own. Let's see. Alright, I like that. It's going to be a lot of changed code. Also, because I want to test this, the recharge rate and the charge level should be fairly easy to test. Charge level, this was like 50% working as of the last week video where I implemented this, but this should allow me to store up charge past 100%. Alright, and indeed it does. That's a lot of fun. When the fire effect hasn't been upgraded, then that's not going to, like, do a lot, but when it's set to 200, let me just make sure, and I think I did test this, that the value, like, negative 1.0 times the max charge is going to let us go to 200%, and indeed it looks like it is. Just figured I would test that as well. Okay, so that I can commit. I'm going to commit each of these changes separately, even though I kind of wrote out half of it the first time. Next, and this should be only a half step away from what we were doing already, the recharge rate. Okay, so that is going to be a multiplier, and that is going to be in the player step event. Shot cooldown sub is going to be this expression, and it's going to tick down over time, and we can simply multiply the DT value by upgrades.get step up and charge rate. Like that. And that should be a 1 line of code fix that allows us to have the charge level going up at 1x. All right. If I were to set the upgrade level to 1, it should go up slightly faster. It doesn't feel like it's going up faster. Also, why is it spelled rage? Hang on, just so that I can see it's working, let's set it to like 1x, 5x, and like, or 4x and like 20x instead of 1.5 and 2. Because it should be fairly easy that 1.4x is faster than 4x is faster than oh, I was not actually, I meant to, all right. So this is level 1, and we did shoot up considerably faster than before, and this is level 2, and it should shoot up almost instantly. Yeah, that's a little overkill. I can kind of get away with only shooting these now, which is not really much of a challenge exactly. All right, 1, 1.5, and 2.0 is what it's going to be. All right, that is indeed a little bit faster. That's not bad. If you were to combine that with like letting the charge go above 100%, you would probably be able to fire off sub-weapon attacks fairly frequently. And that's 2x. That does feel like 2x, doesn't it? Alright. Sub-weapon charge rate. Let's check some of these off. That was this. Indeed, more damage did not do that. Special sets surviving targets on fire. Let's do that. Charge level above 100%. Let's do that. Okay, next is more damage. More damage should be easy. Likewise, when the player shoots... the shot damage is going to be... Alright, so we're already setting the shot damage to plus equals, like the buff damage dot value. Before we do that, we can say... Actually, maybe after we do that, because maybe if the player has got the damage upgrade, they want to be able to like buff their buffs as well, which sounds silly. Shot dot damage times equals upgrades got get damage buff, and that's going to be a factor. 1x, 1.3x, 1.6x. Okay. So at 1x, the game should play as it did before. I will use the Bagworm Bombs level for this because these guys are a little tankier. Alright. At rank 1, %30 more damage. Alright, that felt a little faster, or maybe that's just my imagination. And at rank 2, it should be fairly obvious that we're powering through these things quicker than before. Alright, I think that was definitely faster. Okay, the next one is going to be a little bit more involved. And as I said, I'm going to have to implement a bit of a delay after the player dies. How do I want to do that? So, player should have an on damage. And then player also has a check death. And check death does exactly what it sounds like. If health is less than 100, then 0, then you die. If you die, then you set alive to false, you show the lose screen. And if alive is false, then I believe that just like disables your step event. And it also disables your draw event, so you will be invisible. And that actually makes it so that I have to do slightly less work than I was expecting to. I will have a posthumous, what did I call it? Recovery time, and that can be set to 0. Or initialized to 0 anyway. When you die, this will be set to upgrades.get. Please don't make me spell it again. Alright, Feather isn't quite good enough to tell me what members this chart is going to have, but that's going to be set to this. We will defer the game controller to show lose screen until after that is done. And then if we are not alive, self dot that is going to minus equal the delta time. It's going to tick down. If self dot that is less than or equal to 0. I will also have self dot officially dead, and that's going to be set to false. It's also going to be set to false when you die, and then if this recovery time is less than 0 and not officially dead, that is when we will show the lose screen. And we want to have the officially dead variable there so that we don't like try to show the lose screen over and over again. I think it's just like enabling the visibility of a UI layer. I don't think it's actually going to change anything if it were to fire every step that you are officially dead. But all the same. If I were to die now, and I will set the player's health to something a little bit more reasonable. Where is the player's health defined? Okay, I hard-coded it to like 1,000 over there. if I were to just die now, so run afoul of like the Hornets or something like that, and if I were to just boy, the iframes mean it so that I can't just like sponge bullets as fast as I want to. It's a little unfortunate. Maybe I'll set health to like 2 or something like that the next time. 1, and then we were officially dead. If I were to level up my posthumous recovery, then that is going to give us a... How long was it? 1 second? 1 second delay? Between when I officially die and when the death screen shows up. Alright, that was 1 hit, 2 hits, and there's a 1 second delay. And if I were to set this to level 2, then I should have 4 seconds. And I might nerf that to 2 seconds, because 1 second felt longer than it did in my head. This might need to be nerfed. Yeah. 4 seconds is long. Your bullets aren't going to be on screen for that long anyway. Let's nerf that to 2 seconds. Anyway, that works. Next, I'm going to need to go into the faux template die method. So the faux template should have a die method, and then like all this happens. And here is where I can say if the entity player is officially dead, or if the entity player is not officially dead, I suppose. If it's not alive and not officially dead, all right. That's how we can do this. Where were we? If ent player, if not ent player dot alive and not ent player dot officially dead. Sometimes code is really funny out of context. So if we're not officially dead yet, we can resurrect ourselves with 1 HP. And set alive to true. We can set what is it? Health equals 1. Alright, so testing this is going to be a challenge. But I'm going to go into the Hornet level, and I'm going to do a little bit of damage to you. And I'm going to get myself down to 1 HP, so that's 2 HP and 1 HP. And then just before you land a killing blow, and you... Okay, so you weren't actually... Let me try that again. Actually, you know what I can do to make testing this easier? I can enable the special charge level rank 2 and special fire rank 2, and that's going to allow the fire to do a lot more damage when I shoot it. And that is going to allow me to have a greater chance of actually like finishing these things when I die. Alright, so 2 health, 1 health, and the next time you shoot... Alright. That... I might have actually killed them before they killed me. Alright, let me try that again. Alright, 1 health, and then... I am dead, I am back. Okay, that worked really well, actually. If I were to set that to rank 1, then I would have less of a window, but I still would have a window. And I should be able to do it. If I were being really careful. Alright. 2 health. 1 health. And... Alright, I came back. But my window is a lot smaller. Okay. Wow, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to spend a lot more time fiddling with it, but that was actually... I want to say that only took about 10 minutes. Alright, hooray! In Bombardier, when I wanted to make a small change like that, it often took a lot longer. Let's see, this is going to be implementing posthumous recovery. I think that is going to do it for today. Hack and plan? Well, I got you to the right window anyway. Let's see. I don't know, as of my recording this, if I'm going to be done with level design by the time this video goes up. I would obviously really like it if I can finish level design before this video goes up in like just 2 weeks of live streaming that, but I kind of have my doubts about that, so in all likelihood I will be doing more level design next time, unless of course, I already have finished doing that. Otherwise, I think next time, and I don't see it on this list anywhere, but I'm going to start having to deal with particle effects for things such as when the player takes damage and when the player deals damage. And there's not going to be a ton of it, but for example, the Fire Breath attack will have their own particle effects. I will just have some amount of responsiveness. I don't want to have particles that are able to be confused with bullets, so they'll probably be like low transparency alpha effects or something like that. I just want some sort of feedback when things take damage. So if you don't mind, let me write out a couple of more cards for that. Okay, and now I have them written down. So situations such as player taking damage, foe taking damage, fire breath, explosions, entities being on fire, like actively, the player dying, foes dying, and in between boss stages. These are all going to merit having small amounts of particles happening in the game. And none of them should take particularly long, but there are, as you can see, a number of different effect types. And a lot of them are probably going to look similar to each other, such as like player taking damage and foes taking damage are probably going to look similar, just maybe different colors or particle shapes or something like that. Things like explosions and fire are probably going to be rather similar, that kind of thing. But there's a number of different classes, and they all need to be implemented in the appropriate locations. So, I'm going to end this off. We are apparently, and this number keeps changing because I keep deleting cards, adding cards, moving cards around, but we're probably about halfway through Sprint 3 right now. Messing with audio and messing with like upgrades and upgrade mechanics and that kind of thing is probably going to take a while. Audio is kind of that one part of game design that everyone except the audio engineers kind of doesn't look forward to, but has to get done, and it does add a lot to the game when you do it correctly, so it's worth spending time on. We'll get to that in probably a few weeks. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed that. Links to the GitHub repository can be found in the video description. I'm not going to tag this one yet because I don't know exactly what it's going to be. What with potential future level design weeks. It's the danger of taking this sort of thing out of order sometimes. Anyway, I'll manage Git later. If you want to contribute to the channel, links to Patreon can be found in all the usual places. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Army Armbuster, DJ Gibbles, Edward Holt, Game Maker, KeyXE, Sindra Larson, Squarecrow, The Oz, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want to support the channel, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.